To go from driving my mother's rickety station wagon to Joe's Camaro was like being promoted directly from training wheels to the space shuttle. The Camaro was 10 years old, but my brother kept it in mint condition. We seemed to glide along the road like a hovercraft. I hung my arm casually out the window, waving at everybody and anybody. The paint job was dark and lustrous. We must have looked like an aerodynamic black hole cruising down Bathurst Street. We didn't get a chance to test the 350 horses under the hood, because about 50 yards from Joe's place, we got stuck in a traffic jam. We inched ahead for about 20 minutes before passing the cause of it all. It was the taxi that had brought us from the train station, sitting immobilized in the right-hand lane. 6 feet behind it lay the smoldering engine, spark plugs and all. The driver Ferguson had told to get his motor supports checked was negotiating with the tow truck operator. "I don't like to say I told you so," began Ferguson. "Then don't!" snapped Don. The Peach was making a sketch on a file card of several possible expressway routes to alleviate traffic. Don was flaked out in the back, leafing through the Toronto Star, searching for ways to spend our first day in the big city. It wasn't a tough job. Everything sounded great. We took in the afternoon baseball game and watched the Blue Jays take the White Sox into extra innings before blowing them away in the 12th. Don insisted that we needed new clothes so we wouldn't look like hayseeds. That meant shopping, which I usually hate, but that day in Toronto I really got into it. Now possessing cool wardrobes, we required cool haircuts, so Don and I blew a bundle at this fancy stylist's place. Don looked hip, but when I checked the mirror, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had been in a knife fight where my opponent cut off both sides of my head. At that point, the Peach returned from the bookstore with his only purchase of the excursion, An Illustrated History of Stonehenge. We were ready to call it a day after a trip up the CN Tower when we found out that Electric Catfish was playing at Maple Leaf Gardens and there were still tickets left. You don't pass up a chance to see a big-time rock concert when you come from Owen Sound. This forced us to have dinner downtown, and Don picked a Serbo-Croatian restaurant where we ordered the weirdest things on the menu. This included, and I'm not kidding, stewed crabgrass. There, Ferguson sealed his traffic sketch in an envelope and addressed it to the mayor of Toronto. He mailed it outside the Burger King, where we went for some real food. The concert was amazing, and we were so wired up, we rented 7 ninja movies. The night was a blur of poker, Nerf basketball, and ninja attacks. I estimate we got to sleep around 7 a.m. My parents called at 7:30. I feel like I dreamed the whole conversation. I yawned out that everything was fine and Joe was on his way to London. Ferguson and Don threw pillows at me. I had lost the bet, as I knew I would. The guy whose folks were the first to call had to clean the bathroom all summer. Way to go, Mom. She sounded suspicious. "Jason, are you getting enough sleep?" "No," I said honestly. Somebody phoned me at 7:30 on a Sunday morning. Can you believe that? Parents have no sense of humor. We had just gotten back to sleep when the phone rang again. Mrs. Peach, 7:45. And Don's mom was on the line at 8:10. "Is that everybody?" moaned Ferguson. We counted noses and phone calls and agreed that it was safe to go back to sleep. When we finally woke up, it was 2:30 in the afternoon. Don yawned hugely. "Did my mother phone a few hours ago?" "Everybody's mother phoned," I amended. "Just don't ask me what we told them." "Yours was first," Ferguson reminded me. "And by the way, I like my toilet to really sparkle." Don sprang to his feet and stretched. "Come on, let's get out there and do it all over again. Yesterday was amazing." "Here's something to amaze you," put in Ferguson, making quick calculations in a notebook. "We're $300 poorer." My first thought was, we've been robbed. Oh no, we spent that much? How? We gathered around the paper and gawked. As usual, the peach was right on target. Between the concert and baseball tickets, purchases, food, hairdos, and parking, we'd blown $317.45 in all. At a pace of $300 a day, this summer was going to cost us over $20,000, not including rent. So much for not making it in the big city. We were going to have room and board for as long as we wanted and more, with bars on the windows. "Give me that!" snatched the notebook from Ferguson and began crossing out vigorously. "Scratch all the one-time expenses like the clothes and the hair, and take away the stuff we did just because it was our first day, and the things we got suckered on, but now we know better, and voila!" He held the result in front of the peach. "Dinner for 3 at Burger King, $9.50, read Ferguson. Don looked proud. "Forget it." I grabbed the notebook and tossed it onto the beanbag chair. "Let's continue our tour of the city. Today, we go to everything that's either cheap or free." We headed down to the car. "I don't know how safe this is," said Ferguson on the staircase. "I think the supporting wood's almost rotted out." "It's holding you up," snapped Don. "That's a miracle right there." Ferguson is a little chunky, but definitely not what you'd call fat. "This building probably went up in the 50s, the peach decided, which means the wood should be replaced based on average maintenance and humidity. "Shut up," warned Don. "In the next 3 or 4 years. Of course, this architectural style began as early as 1941, in which case the stairs would become a hazard now." No sooner was the word out of his mouth than a basketball-sized hole opened up under Don's foot, and his leg disappeared to the thigh. Yep, 1941. When we lifted Don and his leg out, he was looking at Ferguson as if to say, "He's a witch! Burn him!" "Don't worry, guys," I stepped in. "We can mention this to the landlord when we go to introduce ourselves. He'll be happy no one was hurt." We stepped outside into the hot afternoon and scanned Pitt Street for the Camaro. I frowned. In all the excitement yesterday, I'd forgotten where I'd parked the... "Hey, Jason, didn't we leave it right here?" Don was pointing to a spot in front of the deli. My heart stopped. In the line of parked vehicles was an empty space just about the size of an aerodynamic black hole. Oh no. "Don't worry," said Ferguson sarcastically. "Filing stolen vehicle reports is a part of life in the big city." Don and I glared at him. We were standing in front of 1 Pitt Street, where a police officer had just finished taking our report about Joe's car being gone. "This isn't funny," I said. "That cop sure didn't seem too upset," Don observed. "What did you expect him to do?" asked Ferguson. "Weep? Tear his hair? Drag Lake Ontario?" "Ferguson's got a point," I said. "After all, it's just a car, and it's insured. We'll probably get it back, but if we don't, the insurance money will buy Joe another one. We can't panic about this kind of thing. Meanwhile, we'll take the buses and subways. With the traffic, it's just as fast." "Right," said Don. "City people never lose their cool, because anything can happen in the city. Why, do you realize that at any second something amazing could happen to us?" No sooner had the words left his mouth than the deli door flew open and out stormed an old man, short, round-faced, with an incredible paunch hidden behind a greasy white apron. His stomach formed a little shelf in front of him. It would have been a great place to put a bowling trophy, but somehow I doubted he had one. He shook a 2-pronged meat fork at us. "Are you crazy, Mr. Cardone? Bringing the police to my building?" His many chins bobbed as he spoke, and below them the apron jiggled. "Police bring health inspectors, building inspectors, and before you know it, hussars!" "How do you know my name?" I asked. It took a few seconds to sink in that this was Plotnik, our new landlord. "Because you look just like the other Mr. Cardone, without the muscles." Joe and I look absolutely nothing alike. "Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Plotnik, but we had no choice. My brother's car has been stolen." The landlord shrugged. What's one little car compared to the health of a real person? I'm an old man. It could be on your conscience that I have a heart attack. You should consider a low-cholesterol diet, said Ferguson seriously. Plotnik looked daggers at him. Who is this person? I introduced Ferguson and Don. They're house guests. Plotnik looked suspicious. They're staying with me for a little while. How little? We don't know yet. Plotnik's eyes narrowed. Okay, Mr. Cardone, but you should remember, apartment 2C is a one-person apartment. In a one-person apartment lives one person. If 3 persons live there, it isn't a one-person apartment anymore. One more thing I remembered. One of the stairs was weak and Don kind of fell through when we were... What? Plotnik reached out to tear his hair, but he didn't have any, so he clutched at the air just above his head. He glared at Don. You broke my stairs! The wood was all rotted out. I guess my foot went right through. Vandalism! Cried Plotnik. Mr. Cardone, I'm afraid I'll have to ask your brother to terminate his lease. I was horrified. Terminate it? Why? He has brought an undesirable element to this neighborhood, Plotnik said haughtily. Actually, Mr. Plotnik, the Peach put in, I don't follow your line of reasoning. The hole in the stairs comes not from Don, but from your negligent upkeep. There's something annoying about you, Mr. Peach, said Plotnik. Could it be the fact that you have a big mouth? You accuse me of not taking care of my building? Me, Plotnik, a respected member of this community? I ask you, is it my fault this big dummy goes stomping down my stairs like a wild man? What if we agree to pay for the repairs? I said, suddenly. I knew the hole in the staircase wasn't our fault, but if Joe came home and found his lease terminated, the 3 of us wouldn't be too far behind it. I'll give you the bill, said Plotnik pleasantly. Welcome to my building. And he walked back into the deli without another word.